Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our next sentence pattern video. This time we are going to look at super patterns, making your ordinary sentence patterns more awesome than they already are. So first, what I want to do is I want to review what we've done, as we always do. We've learned about simple sentences and a lot of the varieties of simple sentences that we've done. We have our standard subject, verb, object. Sarah, the subject, ate, the verb, a dirty banana, the object. We also have a compound subject. Ken and Rick, there's your compound subject, working together, killed dolphins. We also have a compound verb. Miley twerked and jerked on stage. She, the subject, is performing both of those actions. And then, of course, we have compound verbs separated by different objects. Kevin sweet-talked his mom and lied to his dad. And therefore, he was able to go out on a hot date with Lily. And that's exciting for him. So those are all simple sentences. They express one idea. Compound sentences, on the other hand, combine simple sentences. So they're combining different ideas to express multiple ideas. We can combine simple sentences with a comma and a conjunction. Rick ate cheese, but Sally ate children, for instance. Or we can use a semicolon. Sam rides unicorns. He loves to fly. We can use a colon. And remember, colons introduce an example or an explanation. Pandas never cry. They are incapable of sadness. So that incapability of sadness, that's the explanation for why pandas never cry. They're also super cuddly. And then we can have this conjunctive adverb pattern that we learned. Kim licked the flagpole. However, her tongue didn't stick because it was summer. So these are compound sentences. They're taking two or more ideas and combining them into one sentence. So we have simple, we have compound, and we've learned complex sentences. We've learned two different complex patterns. We've learned the introduction. After defeating the evil dragon, Samson roasted the beast's delicious flesh over the fire. And then we learned last time the interrupting cow. Amelia, the wretched woman who lives upstairs, has a stench that would offend a skunk. So these are complex sentences. They still express one idea, but now there's more description, or there's more stuff going on that we need to be aware of, and we need to make sure we're punctuating clearly so our message is clear. So here's what we're going to learn this week. What do we do now with all of these 9 different patterns we've learned? Well, let me tell you a little metaphor. Sentences want to be superheroes. I mean, everybody does, but sentences do in particular. And just like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers combine their individual Zords to create Megazord to defeat the evil Rita Repulsa and her army, sentences can combine their individual strengths to create super sentences and express complex ideas easily. Let's look at the pattern. Sentence pattern plus sentence pattern equals super sentence pattern. Let's look at some examples, shall we? But before we do that, let's look at how the Power Rangers combine their powers, because our sentences are going to do the exact same thing. Go, go, Power Rangers. Alright, now let's look at some examples and kind of see what we mean. So, the conjunctive adverb pattern. That in and of itself is a super pattern. We have a simple sentence with a semicolon, and we have an introduction pattern. Kim licked the flagpole. However, her tongue didn't stick because it was summer. That is a super sentence pattern. Let's look at this one. An interrupting cow plus a colon. Ugh! Get out! Thank you. Miguel, the famed bobsled champion, there's our interrupting cow, eats Doritos Locos Tacos to train. The Cool Ranch inspires him as much as Cool Runnings. Now, in case you didn't notice, I just learned how to embed videos into PowerPoint. Alright, so can you combine more than two patterns together? Because what we looked at are just two patterns can be bad. And of course you can combine more than two patterns. I mean, look at the Power Rangers. Originally there were 5 of them. And what could they do? They could combine themselves to create the Megazord. So we of course can create patterns with more than 2. We can create super patterns with more than 2 regular patterns. And let's look at some examples. And these examples here are all going to be from The Great Gatsby. So Nick says, when I came back from the East last autumn, I felt that I wanted the world to be in uniform and at a sort of moral attention forever. I wanted no more riotous excursions with privileged glimpses into the human heart. So what do we have here? We have an introduction, and then we have a semicolon, combining 2 different patterns here. When I came back from the East last autumn, I felt I wanted the world to be... There it is. Another example. I couldn't guess what Daisy and Tom were thinking, but I doubt if even Miss Baker, who seemed to have mastered a certain hearty skepticism, was able utterly to put the 5th guest's shrill metallic urgency out of mind. So what do we have here? We have a simple sentence with a comma conjunction, combining a sentence with an interrupting cow. And let's look at those. And now lastly, we have one with multiple here. Before I could reply that he was my neighbor, dinner was announced. Wedging his tense arm imperatively under mine, Tom Buchanan compelled me from the room as though he were moving a checker to another square. And here what we've done is we combined 2 intro patterns with a semicolon. And so we're using multiple different patterns, all of these ideas that we've learned in the patterns. Now we're creating more complex things. Now, here's what I did for practice. I wrote one sentence that incorporates every single sentence pattern. Here it is. During the zombie apocalypse, Stephen and Roger, scared by the thought of having their brains eaten by zombies, ran and hid from the creatures of the night. However, the human stench was too strong for the zombie horde, and the undead zombies with their undead pets ambled slowly towards their cowering prey. But the dynamic duo of Stephen and Roger refused to surrender and reached for the one remaining hope. A conveniently placed shotgun was at their disposal. Bang! The zombies were dead. And notice this. I've used all the different types of simple sentences. I've used the introduction twice, actually. The interrupting cow. They're all in there. And then I used 2 really, really short sentences at the end. And those really stick out. And they really show a nice contrast. And when we use sentence patterns, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for variety in the writing style. So it flows, so it's nice, so it's easy. Take a moment and see if you can't go through and find the different patterns within this sentence. I didn't highlight them for you, but see if you can pick them out and see where they are. And when you're done with that, here's your practice, here's your assignment. Create the following sentences in your journal. A super pattern with an interrupting cow and introduction. Find a way to combine those. A super pattern with a semicolon and interrupting cow. Super pattern with an introduction, compound verb, and colon. So now we're going to get 3 patterns in there. and then a super pattern of your own choosing, however you want to combine. And then lastly, as a bonus challenge, see if you can write a sentence that incorporates every sentence pattern. Good night, and good luck.